Wise characters are everywhere in storytelling. While not always the most capable, their depth of knowledge sets them apart from everyone else. We get wise characters across all genres, from grand adventures to intimate dramas. Regardless of setting, they often act as a guide for the rest of those in the story, tapping into their expertise to steer everyone on the right path. Frieren and the Rascal Does Not Dream series do not have a lot in common, at least on the surface. A fantasy world with dragons and magic is markedly different from high school and university. Though I suppose Mai and Fern do share a number of key tendencies now that I think about it. A lot of loving scolding between the two of them. Today, though, we're here to talk about the two protagonists of these shows, Frieren and Sakuta. Because while these anime may look and feel very different at times, these two share the key distinction of being undeniably wise characters. The sources of their wisdom are fundamentally different, but they take on the role of mentor plenty, while still maintaining a leading presence themselves. Let's talk about the ways that they shape the stories and the worlds that they are in. Let's start with Sakuta, the titular rascal of the series. Sakuta can be blunt, crass, maybe a bit detached, but at his core he cares deeply about everyone around him, and is deeply committed to helping anyone who needs it. Over the course of the anime, he goes from a drifting high school kid to someone reliable and liked by most by the time he is in university. It's his relationships with others where his wisdom comes to light. Sakuta understands feelings and motivations better than everyone else around him. He is wise when it comes to emotions, and it's what makes him a hero to those that he helps throughout the story. In a way, his superpower is asking the right questions and listening to those who he asks. Then, only when the time is just right does he act on everything that he's learned. Sakuta is quite a passive character, watching the different puberty syndromes play out around him. But the fact that he is so helpful just by trying to understand others is a powerful statement about what it means to love and support someone. At the end of the day, most of us just want to feel seen and heard. Being understood by someone else is even better. Sakuta gets this, but he also sees when to push and when to back off. His advice for others is specific and helpful. His wisdom really shows in how he chooses to take action surrounding the problems of others. Rather than over-explaining or trying to push people to do what he thinks is best, he gently guides them in what he thinks is the best direction based on what he's learned. I also really like how he is open to being wrong and changing his mind based on new information. Human emotions are fickle and often illogical things, so if you're going to be the hero of a series based around them, you need to be nimble on your feet. Sakuta is a humble, caring person, and this makes him the perfect rascal that those around him come to rely on. So, if Sakuta's wisdom comes from his understanding of others and their emotions, his blind spot involves the actual mechanics of the world he's in, the puberty syndrome. For as much time as he's spent helping others with it, he doesn't really understand how it works. Rio is the one who provides the why and the how of the puberty syndrome. And when she doesn't, it's often the people suffering from it themselves that provide the specifics. Sakuta can seem a bit helpless when it comes to puberty syndrome. This adds to the passivity of his character at times, where it can seem like he's drifting through the plot points instead of springing into action. But as I mentioned earlier, this is due to his own methods for solving the mysteries he's in. Since he doesn't really understand the inner machinations of puberty syndrome, he uses the alternative route of the subject's emotions to find his way to the truth. Sakuta is characterized by internal wisdom, the workings of the self, and a bit helpless when it comes to external wisdom, the workings of the world he's in. This brings us to Frieren, everyone's favorite 1,000-year-plus old elf mage. Her wisdom is almost the complete opposite of Sakuta's. She is incredibly knowledgeable about the magic that permeates the world of the story. Her legend is known far and wide throughout the lands, whispered in both admiring and fearful tones. She is a guide and a teacher to both Frieren and the other mages that take the exams with her, demonstrating a depth of understanding that can only be cultivated over generations of study. Oftentimes, she is the one that explains the situation at hand, and will be the one to cast the final blow. Her own mentor, Flam, has long since passed, leaving Frieren as one of the few bastions of this ancient knowledge. When it comes time to really step in as a hero of the story, Frieren taps into this teaching from her mentor and uses this wisdom to win the fight. This specific plot device is a defining feature of the show, subverting a lot of expectations of what a major fight scene should be in anime. Instead of focusing entirely on the fight at hand, it's what Frieren learned in the past that is the ultimate reason she triumphs. It's a very tactile form of wisdom, rooted in the rules and systems of the world that she's in. Frieren's blind spot when it comes to her wisdom is everything based around emotions. Anything to do with feelings and relationships is foreign to her, as obscure as the puberty syndrome is to Sakuta. This is the bedrock of her character, as the inciting action of the entire anime is the regret she feels upon Himmel's passing. In the same way that Rio helps to explain puberty syndrome to Sakuta, Frieren is constantly being taught about the complexities of relationships both from her memories and those around her. There's a yearning in Frieren to engage with this other side to life, and it comes in large part from a desire to help those that she cares about. She may be closed off, but she has a protective instinct and a deep love for those that she opens up to. This love is what gives her the courage to venture into that deep unknown of emotions, and make progress as the story unfolds. She may be wise when it comes to magic, but Frieren is hopeless at times when it comes to feelings. Sakuta and Frieren are in some ways two sides of the same coin. Sakuta is deeply in touch with the ways that people feel, but a bit lost when it comes to the supernatural powers that guide his world. Frieren is a master of the magic in her story, but struggles to understand and connect with others. The two share some things in common, too. Both can seem helpless when interacting with those blind spots in their wisdom, unmoored in that which they don't fully understand. But the two of them also have an air of infallibility to them. While they face challenges along the road, it does feel like they are always going to come out on top, as long as they can find some way to put their strong suits into play. I've already alluded to this earlier, but both naturally take on mentoring roles due to their wisdom. Sakuta's is in a softer way, but it seems like the climaxes of most arcs involve him helping to console and guide those in need. So as much as their domains differ, these two do exhibit a lot of the same qualities. I love both of these characters, in large part because of how interestingly they operate as protagonists. They both play slightly more passive roles than you might expect, but this step back allows them to nurture interesting relationships with those around them, and carry a greater wealth of knowledge than a leading character normally does, while still keeping the story tight and interesting. It's part of the reason I think both of these shows are special, and can't wait for both the season finale of Rascal Does Not Dream of Santa Claus and the next season of Frieren. So while one is a college student and one is an elf mage, these two wise characters are more interesting to compare and contrast than you may have originally thought. And that ends episode 2 of Split Screen. If you enjoyed, liking and subscribing helps a ton, and will keep you in the loop moving forward. Also, I'm not sure exactly what it does, but hitting that hype button on the mobile app also apparently will help boost this channel out to others. I'd appreciate it if you gave it a go. I'm SlamAnime, and I'll catch you on Friday for the next one.